good. Where to put this? Hello. How's everyone doing? Hello. How's everyone doing? Cool. So here's the list of topics for today. Let me actually pull. Okay. Let's see. I'm just gonna fix the position of my mic. 1 second. Oh, let me pull up the video. I'm just gonna pull up the video promo clip. Turn off the sound. Okay, sound is off. Oh, thank you for asking, first of all. And I've had a super, super busy week. I'm surprised I even made it for this week's live stream. Because it's going to be like a mini marathon. Originally, I was planning to do a live stream marathon for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But then I just couldn't work it out in my schedule. I just wanted to get all these topics out of the way so we can begin like a new topic. So there was a few things that was left off from the previous streams, like this locomotion data. If you watch the previous stream, there was a bit of sliding issue. Here, this that you'll see in the middle, like at the beginning of I think the second part of the stream, that you'll show like I randomly chose this zombie animation during the live stream, and I didn't realize that it was gonna slide like this because the zombie is idling at the beginning. So there was a lot of these little topics that I wanted to just cover, but I didn't have the time to talk about it in the last stream. So I wanted to cover all these small little topics all in this week. Oh, and the crowd avoidance. I think this is important to talk about just to finish off the crowd series. Like all these little topics. And the Vellum driven antennas, this topic was actually suggested by a fellow member. And they were saying, because this is the original walk cycle, you can see that the antennas are not moving at all. And this brings it to life. It sort of gives it a little bit more realistic feel to it. So this is actually very simple to do. Well, there's two approaches. I'm going to talk about the Vellum antenna in today's stream, and the crowd avoidance, this one, in today's stream. And the next stream, if I can finish these two topics in today's, the next stream will talk about this locomotion data, how to fix this sliding issue. So you have like, you can actually bring in this data, the way that it actually doesn't move and where it's positioned in the world space. You can actually bring that into the crowd and it will actually figure it out for you. So you don't really have to, it's not much you have to do. So this is really nice to finish it off. And of course, the SDF destruction, which I've been like been sitting in my back burner for like the backlog for like ever. That will be the next one. Hopefully, if all goes as planned, it should be on the Friday one. But we'll see. We'll see how the plan goes. Hey, Jojo. Oh, and the next topic that I've been sitting on is the water, the ocean combined with flip collisions one, which has been requested over like quite a few times over the past few months. But I haven't had the chance to get into it, so that will be the next topic after all this. I'm thinking maybe I'm a little ambitious, but maybe I can do like a bunch of, if you're not sick and tired of the bug army, I'm sure you will be. I may reuse this bug and have them crawl out of the water, but have it in a flip tank, so there's actually collisions, but then blend it with the ocean, so you have like an infinite ocean floor. I don't know how it'll look like. It was just an idea that popped in my head this morning. And hopefully next week I can get some time to do some like motion capture and actually start on some Vellum clothing to complete my KineFX animations, and finally maybe start on my short animation film. It's a long to-do list. So let's see. So yeah, this is the topics, sort of like subtopics for the Vellum antenna, and then let's see. Let me pull up this. Learned. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's a good thing. Catch you first live stream. Glad to be here. Awesome. Welcome to the bubblepins world. Actually, since you're new here, I'm gonna suggest that I made a welcome page, sort of like a guide for all those new members. So if for all those that are new to the bubblepins program or membership program, I've been told that I've accumulated quite a lot of content over the past, I don't know, year or so that it's been on. And people are getting overwhelmed with the amount of content. So lately I've created this membership guide page. So I'm just gonna, you know what, I'm just gonna paste it in here so everyone can access it. It will be in the description link when after this live stream is out. So what you can do if you're really new and you're a little overwhelmed, you can watch these teaser videos, and they're really short, like 30-second, 1 minute. I think the longest one is like 3 minutes. I'm not even sure if I have one that's 3 minutes, like 1.5 minutes, most of them. And you can watch some of these, and then just to get an idea of what Houdini can do and what existing topics I have. I don't have a teaser video for every single topic I did, so I just recently started doing this for the past few months. These teaser videos show what topics I've covered and what is covered, and just watch over them, see which special effects that you like, and note them down. And after you get a feel of what you want to learn, because Houdini is so large and it like you can do almost anything. You pick a topic, and after that you can really get deeply into Houdini. So say you watched, I don't know, this. You watch this, I'm going to turn off the sound. You watch this destruction video, and you want to learn this. This is fem destruction. It'll say at the end, fem destruction. So you can note that down. And then over here, you can search for fem. Oh, I actually didn't have one for fem. Okay, I will add that in. I try to have a playlist for every single topic that I can think of that I actually have content for. And I missed the fem one, so I'm gonna add that in here. So these are actually links to the playlist. If you click on this, open another tab, they'll lead to the playlist corresponding to this topic, to all the Vellum topics. So hopefully that'll help you, so you don't feel too lost for all those that are new to the membership program. Add the Vellum skin. Vellum skin. Oh, you mean like body, like body fat and muscle? I think that is done with fem, but we can try Vellum because fem is very slow. I can see why. Like even I prefer Vellum over fem any day of the week. I think I know what you mean by that. Yeah, that'll definitely be on the list. Just to complete the whole character animation, to make it like, the goal is to make like, to be able to create a short film of any kind using main tool would be Houdini. Where the page I'm going through it. Super excited, thank you. Cool, awesome. I hope you enjoy it. I will add the fem playlist onto that page too. Okay, let's see. Film skin like body cam. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely on the list. Don't worry. I got you. But it'll probably come. Well, we'll see how the schedule goes. I'm not the best at time estimations. Okay, so I'm just gonna. It will come soon. Like after the ocean, infinite ocean, and flip fluid collision combination. Like how to combine a flip tank with an ocean. That's I need to get that off the backlog topics, and then we're gonna explore more deeper into the character animations and more on that. Yeah, no problem. Okay, I'm just gonna get started just because I'm trying to aim for an hour for all the live streams. Apparently my brain starts to turn to mush once I pass the 2-hour mark. Hopefully we can, so I'm trying to aim for an hour, make them shorter but more live streams. So let's just move on. Let's just get started, sorry. So we're gonna start with this character already set up. So this was the setup of this KineFX rig was shown in the previous live streams. So I'm not going to go over that. I will show you a link. Ads. Let me load them ahead of time. All right, so this is it. So it would be, I guess the thumbnail would help. Okay, this is better. This is a lot better. So this is the previous live stream that covered the KineFX rigging. That's this one. So I'm not going to go over how I rigged this bug character and how to retarget the animation because that was in the previous live streams. But we are going to reuse this retargeted walking bug walk cycle that I had. So the walking was based on this guy, which is the Houdini built-in characters, the mocap stuff here. Character, this guy, like this button here. Basically, I retargeted this walking motion to this bug character, to every single leg, as a better. Okay, as you can see, so the white lines here, the white skeleton here is the bug character, and obviously this blue one is the human. So you can see these lines are all connected, dotted from the legs of the bug to the legs of the human. So they're all rigged from the bugs of the human to the human legs to the bug. So that way I can get the walking motion. So that's why he's walking really weirdly. But if you have like 30 of these guys, like far, 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 it doesn't really show that much. You get a really nice walking from far away. So this was perfect for the crowd. So this is, check out the previous live streams for that. So we are going to reuse it, but I'm not going to go over this node setup. Okay, without further ado. So the objective right now is to convert. Oh, and one more thing. You're probably tired of me saying this, but if you have any questions, shoot them in the chat. Even if I'm still talking, just shoot them as early as possible. And because I'm going to be checking the chat every like so often during the stream, and then the sooner you get your questions in, I'll answer it as soon as I see them. Right, today we're gonna be doing, so right now we're gonna change this and walking antenna to the Vellum antenna. Okay, let me turn this off because we're not gonna be rendering that. Let's create another one. Now there's two approaches to this. The first approach I'm going to show you is the more simple approach. It's just plainly taking the antennas and just converting the antennas directly into a vellum material and then fusing it back into the rest of the bug walk cycle. So that's the most direct and simple way. Now there is a more complicated way of doing it that I'll cover at the after the simple way. It's creating a thicker, like a larger geometry from the antenna, because as you can see here, the antennas are very thin. The antennas are very thin right here. And it doesn't give you much topology for the Vellum simulation to do its magic. So I'm going to create a sort of a temporary antenna geometry to feed into the simulation, the Vellum simulation, and then remap that Vellum simulation back to the original antenna geometry so I could get the motion. So that's the second approach. The first approach is really simple. So let's just get into that first. Okay, the first thing is first we need is to import this walk cycle, this walk animation. We need to import it into our Vellum context. So this guy here. Okay, so we got this guy right here. Now we need to, I'm gonna isolate the antennas. So the antenna was grouped, the polygons of the antenna was grouped ahead of time. So I could easily isolate it like this. So now it's split off. Oops. Oh, you know what? Okay, so this is the antenna and this is the body. So it's split off. Now, the second thing we want to do is, now that we have the antenna, we can just feed it directly into the Vellum clothing. Okay. Okay, let's put in the Vellum solver. Okay, let's just run it. Let's see what happens. Nothing. That's because this animation, we need to pin this animation. We don't want this static, rigid antennas, but what we do want is this base motion to drive the rest of the Vellum simulation. So what we can do is we can pin these points And inside this Vellum clothing node, I'm trying to pull this out. Okay, there's a pin to animation, and there's pin points. So you come here, you can click this, and I'm gonna use the lasso, and I'm just gonna drag the ones on the base. So while your mouse is still on the 3D viewport, press enter. So you can see that these turn purple. So they're pinned down. And come over here, it says pin type permanent. Yeah, I just want permanent. And I want match animation. Okay, let's go back to the Vellum solver. And let's just... Okay, let's try. Okay, it's working. I mean, it's not... it's too clothy. We need more stiffness, but we have something that's relatively working. We need to adjust the stiffness parameters, and here's the body. As you can see, it's actually intersecting, like it's not colliding with the body. So what you can do here, collision, let me pull this back up. Here it says collision geometry. So this is where you can plug in the body into the collision geometry here. So that way it'll collide with it. So now it's not overlapping with the body. But if you can remember from this clip, here, see, it doesn't actually fall that far down to the point where it'll collide to the body. Like these antennas just swing in this level of the area, and it'll never actually swing this low. So I actually don't need this, because this is actually contributing to, it's taking up more CPU cycles unnecessarily, because we know it'll never overlap. So we don't really need to detect collisions for that. I'm only pointing it out in case you have a scene where you have a character that does require this. Who knows? Maybe, I don't know, you're doing antennas that are whiskers. Who knows? Then you might need this. Here, let's turn up the stiffness, because right now it's too weak right now. It's not strong. So select the Vellum closed node, come over here, let's turn up, okay, let's stretch stiffness. Okay, 1 to the 10th, that's good. Let's turn it up by 10. Okay, let's boing 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 boing. That'd be kind of fun. Okay, we're actually, so this approach, you can see it's really, really simple. Now, okay, so let's turn off the template of this. So right now we have this. Now you can turn it up even more. I actually don't like it that bouncy. It's actually very hard to control this one, just because this topology, if you look here, we have very little topology. There's not much. So it's a little harder to control with the Vellum solver. So even if we go, like, turn this even higher, it's not gonna do much. Like, it's still very bouncy. You can try and turn this up, the sub-steps of the Vellum solver. Yep, that improved it a lot. But I kind of still like the fact, like, the second approach, where I'm going to get to in just a second, is another way to how to control this bouncing effect. So I'm going to turn this back down, because it is slowing the cooking. Okay, now to complete this, we need to actually merge it with the body, and you may want to fuse it as well. So this is here. But since the geometry was split off and recombined together, if we come here and I go like this, and I'm just gonna move it up. See, it's not attached, it's not welded to the geometry anymore, because we split it off here. And then what we're doing here, we're just plainly merging it here, and that's not gonna weld it. What we need to do is add a fuse down. So this will fuse, this will actually weld the points. So what will happen now if I choose that same thing? I think it was this one, sorry. So now it's welded. Trying to get a better angle. Okay, see? Now it's welded. This isn't really necessary because it depends on what scene, what you're trying to do with your scene. Because here we have the pinning. We have pinned it here. We pinned these points right here. So they're not going to move out of place. They're going to be exactly where this animation is. So when we put the body, it'll always be in the correct position. Maybe this is a better view. Okay, yeah. So this will always be in the correct position. So it doesn't really matter too much. It may make more of a difference when you weld it or not, when you put a shader on it. And the shader might be, if the shader has like, what is it called? Edge damaging or edge erosion, then it'll start to like erode that edge right there. So if the shader has an edge detection, then it might make a difference if you weld it or not. So I'm just gonna check the chat. Yeah, you could keep pumping it up. You can keep pumping it up. Yeah, definitely. I'll add the fem to the playlist of that page. Okay. So this is the first approach. This is the simple way. Now the second way is a little bit more. I'm just gonna take this top part because these nodes are the same nodes I'm gonna reuse. It's just importing the character over. Gonna do this. Sure. Okay, so now we have the character over, and this is the antenna. Just gonna create more realistic. Okay. So we have the antenna right here. Now what I wanted to do is create a larger antenna to feed into the Vellum simulation. And what I'm gonna do is I'm not just gonna throw down a transport node, because why wouldn't I just do that? Because if I go like this and I enlarge it, it's actually enlarging from like, okay, maybe not, enlarging from that little spot, from this point. This is the pivot area where this enlarges, which is not going to work out because the body is over here. If you enlarge it like this, it's going to go out of whack. And also it doesn't improve the topology. By enlarging this, it doesn't really change the shape of the antennas. Even if I go like this and aim for, what this does is, this is a Houdini expression which says give me the centroid X position, give me the centroid center Y position, give me the center Z position. And what this does when you fill out X, Y, Z is that you get the center position. So if I come over here and press enter, so now the center is over here. So when we enlarge this, yeah, it's a little better, but it's not what we want. What I really want is to change the shape of these antennas so that it's thicker. So for that reason, I'm going to convert this into a VDB. Just because the VDB has this VDB reshape node that allows us to sort of grow the shape. I'm going to use VDB. You know what? I'm going to turn it, I want more resolution, so I'm going to have a lower voxel size. Then I'm going to change it to VDB reshape. Now you don't have to worry that some of it is disappeared. It will come back. So VDB reshape, there you go. So this has made it a little thicker. So this was the original one. This is really, really thin on those areas. This made it a little thicker. So let me do 3. This is really thick. 1 second. Okay, now I'm gonna convert it back into a polygon, so we can actually feed it into the Vellum solver. Convert into polygons. Here we go. Now, if we look carefully, this is really, really dense topology, and it's not the best to feed into the Vellum solver because when you have a lot of topology, it'll take a long time to cook. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remesh it. So I think this is good enough. So all I really wanted to do was change the shape of this and get me even topology throughout that shape. Yep. Now, let's feed this into the Vellum clothing. Same thing, and then Vellum solver. Now let's see what happens. Okay. Well, first of all, it falls all the way down. And the second thing is, I want you to notice that here on frame 1 of this guy, I'm gonna lost it, sorry. Pin it. Just give me 1 second. I'm just gonna take a snapshot of this. Okay, so this guy is on frame. Sorry, I'm trying to write with the mouse, so it's not the prettiest thing. So this is on frame 1. Sorry. Okay, let's unplug this. Now let's see it on frame 2. Okay, let's bring that up again. Oh, I forgot to pin it again. Pin it. So this is on frame 2. So this is frame 1. Now frame 1 has 238 points. Frame 2 has 236 points. So what I wanted to point out, what I'm trying to say is that the geometry is changing. Our process of converting it into a volume and then converting it back to a polygon is the same nodes, but but it's different. It gives us a different result for every single frame. That's because this input, this is the antenna input, this is the geometry that we're feeding it into this process, is different. It's in a different position for every single frame because this is animated. Now this doesn't work well with this Vellum solver. Yeah, at least not, because we're gonna need to pin it afterwards. When in this Vellum clothing, we actually need this motion, this swinging, the walking motion. We need to pin that. We need to pin the points on the base. Now, this is not going to work out if the points that we pin keep changing. So, throw down time shift. This will lock this down to frame 1. So come over here and let's go to the first frame. Come over here and just delete the expression. Okay, delete it and just have it on frame 1. So right click and you can just delete channels. That way this geometry is going to be the same throughout the entire playback. But that still doesn't help us because we still need to pin this. We still need that motion. We still need that motion in order to pin the points. So what we can do is use a point deform, and what it will do, it will take this swinging geometry, it will take that motion and it will remap it to this geometry. So let's pull this down and plug it all in, and you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to plug in our new antenna, our new larger antenna to the first one. Now this requires a rest point. A rest point would be like the first frame of the motion, which is this one right here. So this is our rest. And we're gonna put it in here. And then I'm gonna take, you know what, I'm gonna move this over. Then put this here. And delete this. Okay. There we go. So the rest point here, and then the last one, what we want is the motion, the deforming, the actual moving. This guy and the rest position, which is not moving. So it needs those two information in order to deform our new larger geometry here. So let's put this into this. And the result is we get this new larger one swinging, which is perfect. This is what we need. We're going to feed this one into the vellum now. Now we can have something to pin. Okay, just like as before, just going to match the geometry, come down here. Okay, let's hold on. All right, so it's working. Well, we need to turn up the stiffness, but yeah, it's working. Stretch stiffness 10. Okay, this bend stiffness, so just as before, just turn it up. And let's try it. Okay, woo, 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 woo. Okay, I'm going to turn up the sub-steps as well for the Vellum solver. Okay, that's a little better now. Okay, so let's merge this back just to see how it looks like. This is not the final thing that we're going to use. So this is what it looks like with the entire body. Whee! Now, this geometry isn't the prettiest one at all. We want this geometry. So you've seen the power of this point deform node. We can transfer one animation, one motion from one geometry onto a completely different geometry. So we can do it. We can do the same thing again. What we can do is take this motion and transfer it back to this one. Oh, sorry, this one, because we don't want it moving. Oh. Just gonna bit of organization. So we don't need this. We don't need this. All right. Let's drop down another point deform. So this is the one that we're the one that we're trying to deform is this one, the original geometry. I'm gonna plug it in there. And the one that the motion that we're interested in is this new vellum motion here. So what this, again, this deform node needs a rest position. So we're going to take this and we're going to shift it onto frame 1. There we go. Frame 1, and then we take this animation and we put in the last input. And there, I'm just going to template this. There you go, see? I'm just going to load a few frames, and I'm going to take off the template. Okay. So now you have that swing motion. Now we can merge it with the rest of the body. So this will give us what we want. trying to get a bigger angle. Here we go. There you go. So I sort of like this approach because it is a little more complicated compared to the first one. But let's take a look first. I'm gonna stack them both on top of each other. But I'm gonna move this. Actually, you know what? Let me change the color. Let's make it red. And this one, I'm just gonna move them over. Oh, not that way. This way. Oh, where did it go? Okay, let's just move it here. Move them over so we can see them both animated at the same time. Now you can see the white one. The white one is the one with the simple here actually. Let's make this even more visually. There we go. This is this one. That one, the white one is the simple version. Now you can see the white one is more bouncy. It's more like chaotic. The red one is a little more, oh, but that's because I turned, oh, let me make this a little more fair. Let's turn up the substeps for the simple one as well, because I turned up the substeps for the complex one as well. So this would make it a little bit more fair. Okay, there we go. The difference is very, very subtle. Wee. This thin one is a little more, I don't know how you say it. It's a little more bouncy, I guess. This one over here seems like it's more natural, because we had inputted a larger, thicker geometry into the Vellum solver. So it has more thickness to it, or it has more stiffness. It has different parameters. So the difference is, let me put it here. Okay, that's better. Yeah, the white one is a little more chaotic, in my opinion. The red one has more resistance or drag to it, seems like. Cool. So any questions? Can you perform a clip node before the remesh node? I just want to see on side the geometry after VDB convert. Clip node before the remesh node. For the complex one? Clip node before the VDB. Oh, this? Here. So this one here. Clip. Oh, I gotta turn that off. Okay. Like this? I'm not sure where you want me to clip. The antenna? Yeah, I'm 1 a.m. here, and I have just gone doing a wonderful job. Oh, thank you. Wow, 1 a.m. Thank you so much. I highly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hello, last stream I've asked, where are you working? You said that you work nowhere, but it seems like you have enough knowledge to take position. Yeah, I wish so too. I wish. But yeah, I think the people have told me that the industry requires a lot of connections, and since like I'm not someone from the industry, or not like I don't have any professional experience, so it's I think it's a little harder to get into it, into the industry, or into this industry. No, your English is perfect. No, don't be silly. Then your English is perfect. Before the remesh node, after convert VDB. Oh, before the remesh node, after oh here. Okay, let me template this. No, template this. Clip dot ooh. Okay, let me template this. This? Oh, template this. Silly me. So okay, this is what it was before, and then this is the clip node here. So it is a solid. It's a solid geometry. Converted from this VDB. So this is it's still watertight. I believe so. Because it welded it's like welding everything. I'm guessing you want to see the slit part. Let me see. I can pull this down. Here. You want to see that part, right? Let me turn off the template. So it is like welded, like a bulging area here, because there's two close, so it kind of merged it all. It's like if you ever use ZBrush, it's like the Dynamesh. Cool, nice tutorials. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. Cool. Okay, so we're halfway through. Okay, first approach. Stiffness, remap. Awesome. I'm finally on time for once. Okay, so this is doing well on time so far. Let's not jinx it. So this I will clean up this node network. So this is a little messy. You're gonna get something that looks more like, for all those that have the Perk 1 members, they'll get Perk 1 and Perk 2. Basically, members will get the HIP files and will get the HIP files to this setup. So you're gonna get something that looks more like this, which is a little better. Which is the same node network. It just has my fancy comments. So this looks a lot more nice and tidy. Okay, so I'm gonna clean up this file, and it'll be available in the next couple of days or so. And for the Perk 2 users, you're also gonna get access to the file, and you'll get like the edit version of this video, but that'll come in like probably next week. Just because there's so much live streams this week. All right, so let me just save this, and we can move on to the next thing that I wanted to cover, because I just don't want to waste time. So the second one is this terrain. Let me just open up the file, just get everything ready. Just give me one moment. Terrain, that's the one. Okay, there it is. So this is mine here. Okay. This. Okay. Okay, there we go. So again, we're gonna start off with the same bug rig here. Let it load just for a couple minutes. Okay, so it's the same setup here. I'm not gonna show you how this is set up, how the KineFX rigging and the retargeting animation works, just because that was shown in the previous video. So this is this exact same node that was covered in the previous that we started off with in the Vellum antenna one. So now we're gonna cover that hamster wheel one. That is this guy, this hamster wheel. How to project them onto this terrain, and what things that you need to be aware about. So let's get started. Let's do that. I'm going to try and build this from scratch. Let's see how it goes. Crowd set, yeah, okay. Well, not from scratch. We do have an agent already working. So that makes it a lot easier. Okay, so in here, we're going to have to import that bug agent. And I want to show you. That is this one over here. That's after the ragdoll setup. And this is after you convert the KineFX rig into an agent. So that's after all that. So this is an actual crowd agent that can be used in a crowd simulation. And this part is for the ragdoll stuff. We're not going to cover ragdolls. That was covered in the previous live streams. And again, I'll put the links in the description for the for the corresponding topics. Okay. Oh, right. Come here, Control C, come over here, come over here. Now I want to just paste it in. All right. Move this over so I get more real estate. So this is our bug agent. Now, first of all, I'll need to import the terrain, the hamster wheel. I call it the hamster wheel. So let's import that. There's our hamster wheel. Now let's populate the hamster wheel with our bugs. Oh, right. We have to import the terrain. So this is just the torus. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly go over this. The torus. So I made a smaller one so I can cut a hole through it. So just gonna cut a hole through this, transform it, so stretch it over, so I'm gonna have this, so we end up with this hole. So then we have a nice hamster wheel. Blast the outer sections. So this is the boolean. I blasted the edges. Okay, so by blasting the edges, I manually selected them. So I manually selected the inside because this inside layer is flat. It's more flat, and that it makes a nice terrain for the bugs to walk on. So this is just moving it up in position, and we get a nice ground. We get a nice hamster wheel. So that's in here. I'm going to take that. I'm going to import it over. Okay, there's our hamster wheel. Now I'm going to throw down some normals on here. And what this will do, so you can see that now that we have normals, and these are very important because the bug agents, these crowd agents, are going to be aligned to the normals of the terrain. That's how it knows that it needs to be upside down or the terrain is, slanted or anything. That's how it knows that it needs these normals. Okay, let's drop down a crowd source. Now the details of how to set up a crowd system was also discussed in the previous live stream. But so if you want details on that, more in-depth explanation, please go to that live stream. Maybe I can just show you. That would be these two, the part 1 and part 2. So that covers the ragdoll and the whole crowd systems. In today's, I'm just gonna quickly go over it because what the main focus of today is the upside down terrain and what things to know about, like certain things I want to point out. So we're gonna plug in the bugs, and we're gonna plug in our terrain. Okay, as you can see, they're in the shape of the wheel. It's so large that it's covering the whole wheel now. So we're gonna turn down the size. So in the crowd source here, we can adjust the size. It's gonna go really tiny. So now they're all on the terrain. All right, let's just gonna name this. Now I'm just gonna drop down a .NET. Yeah, every crowd simulation needs a crowd solver. And we need a crowd object. Okay, and let's get the crowd object here. So we need this crowd source here. Let's bring it in. It's asking for a SOP, and we're just gonna plug that in. Attribute state rest. Oh, and also it's throwing an error because it's saying, hey, what's the state that you want to begin with. So if our bug agent, when you set it up, the agent, you have to set up the animation state as well. So here we have a walk cycle. So we have a walk cycle here. Now you run it, it's not going to run. That's because we haven't set up the initial state yet. So in here, in the crowd source, choose bug walk, and then that sets. So just that you know, if you select the crowd source, come over here in the points, we're going to filter this to state, and you can see that this changes the state. There's an actual attribute that holds the initial state, or not the initial, the current state. So if you set the initial state, that will set the current state. If I change this to rest, so this will update as well. We want the walk, so we want that. And that's the attribute that gets read into this .NET. So let's go here. Okay. Now we have to enter the crowd state. We have to actually bring it in. And then plug it into the states. That's the third input of the crowd source, a crowd solver. Here, and then just overwrite bug walk. So this, in the crowd state, there's a $OS for the state name. So this will grab the name of this node. So this is equivalent to having this right here. Except this is just a fancy Houdini expression that grabs it directly from the name right here. So it's a little easier to change if we just click this and just type it in. It's gonna walk. Okay. Hope you can see. Okay, let me make it faster. Come to the crowd state here, and the gate speed, you can just increase this. I'm gonna make it 3. Make it go faster. Okay, let's make it go even faster. 4. Okay, you can see that just moving straight. Okay, let's come back here, and the hamster wheel's there. That's not helping much. It's just it's ignoring the hamster wheel completely. That's because we have not inputted the hamster wheel as a terrain. So if you come over here to the crowd solver and then the terrain tab here, you can enable terrain projection. So this will project the agent onto the terrain. And so what we want to input is that the hamster wheel. And the hamster wheel, we also need to specify the direction that the agent is projected from. Like if it's upside down, the up will be the opposite way. Right now, it's using the direction vector. So that's why they're all facing like, they're all parallel is what I'm trying to say. So if you see here, this hamster wheel here, like they're not supposed to be parallel. This guy needs to be tilted because he's on the edge of the wheel. Like he's not sitting flat. It's not a flat surface. So what you need to do here, choose the up vector. Now that's not going to do anything. That's because we have to come over here to the particle motion and you have to adjust up vector. You have to actually define the up vector. Over here, we have chosen to use the up vector, but over here, we have to define what will be the up vector. Well, the up vector is different. So we just want it to be the same thing as the terrain normal. So right now, so this will tilt everything. This will tilt all the agents so that they're parallel to the surface. So they're actually sitting on the surface. So this guy is no longer like, he's actually tilted. He's aligned with the hamster wheel. Okay, let's just give it a go. Let's just run it. Let's run it over here because then we can see the wheel, the terrain, the hamster wheel. So I want you to notice what is happening. You see that, like that teleportation. Now that's happening because they're falling on the edge off of the edge of the earth. This is the terrain. This hamster wheel is their earth. It's their world. It's the only world that they know about. And once they get to the edge and get past the edge, there's nothing there. It's like the edge of the universe. We don't know what sits there. So what it does, it just teleports randomly to some other spot on the terrain. I'm just going to check the chat for a second. Whoa. Let me get a drink of water. It's 1 a.m. I thought it was a solid from inside because the sim you threw was fast and clean, I would say. It is a solid, but it's not. I think you're thinking about the fem solid. The fem solid is a little different. So in the previous live stream, I had turned where the plant eater, if you remember, this plant eater, we turned this whole plant head into a fem material, and then that is different from what oh, that was in a different file. Ooh, I can't. I already closed that one. Yeah, it's different from the one that I just shown with the Vellum antenna, because the Vellum antenna, when you change it into a volume and then change it back from a VDB back into, you know what? A picture's worth 1,000 words. Let's do this really quickly. Rubber toy. Take away the shader. Ooh, fuzzy. VDB from polygons. So this, maybe convert. This is just converting it from a volume back into a solid. If you clip it, it's going to be hollow inside. But what we did with the fem embed, was it tet mesh? Tet conform? I think it was tet conform. If we do this, one, it'll take a while to cook. Okay, if I do this, template this, sorry, let me clip, yeah, should to take this, I'm gonna clip this over here. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay. Oh, let me take out the template. So this is actually how do you say there's stuff in here. Ah, there we go. That looks, there's actually stuff in here. So turn on points. That's not helping. Wireframe. Here, wireframe. I hope you can see there's points inside. Like there's a huge network of points all inside. Let me turn up guides 6. So they're a little bigger. So there's actually points inside. It's quite a different material. So if I take the clip, so this is like filled in. This is filled in. If I take this and I lower the clip, the whole thing is filled in from top to bottom. I should go like this. Yeah, that's better. So the whole thing is filled in. As opposed to this. I mean, this is a solid. It's watertight solid, but it's there's nothing in, there's no nothing in here. There's no points inside. This is the surface. This is like an exterior polygon on the outside. It's a watertight solid. Cases Stu is looking for. Oh, are you thinking taking a? Oh, just do it day and night. You'll be an expert in no time. See this kick-ass reel. That is so true. That is so true. Cool. Are you working with that? May take the project. We'll have. Yes, yeah, an artist at studio. And I am also all the best. Create like you. Who is happy project from time to time, but gas. Oh, I know how it feels. I know how it is when you have like you're playing you have your day job that you do 9 to 5, and then you have to go home and then do something else. Like, it's hard. I feel for you, man. Picking houdini out of a hobby. All good things begin with a hobby. So we'll get there. Same boat. Sorry, I'm just looking for questions. I don't mean to read this in the middle of the thing. Solid from the inside. Like conform node, I guess, having solid from the inside. It's more like filling the inside, having a filling. That's like, if you ever go to the dentist and they put a filling, they actually have to put stuff inside. It's more like that, I think. I don't know if that's the best example. Never sleeps, and I hope help me learn many things this year. Got it, thanks. Awesome. I'm glad to be of service. All right, let's go back to this. Oop. Hamster wheel. Where was I? Oh, right. Okay. Right. So they're teleporting. Right. So once they walk off the edge of the earth, they just start like teleporting to like some door randomly just because they don't know what to do. There's no satisfying solution to fixing this that I could find. The only way that I can find is to prevent them from going to the edge of the universe. Prevent them from ever actually walking to this edge, because it does make sense. You have a terrain, you define your world. Once they go past that, once the system goes past that, it doesn't really know what to do. Now I don't know if there's actual better solution, but this is my solution. So let's go here. I'm just gonna copy. So we have our hamster wheel here. I'm gonna make walls. This will sort of tell them, this is the edge of the universe. I want you to avoid this. So that's what I'm trying to do. So if you come here, now there's something called here that we can use. Now, crowd systems are all, just a quick recap. Now, this is a crowd agent, but if we look carefully, all the information is being packed into one point. Now we know for sure that this character is made up of many points and many polygons. But once you convert it into an agent, it's only one point. It gets packed. It's sort of the Houdini's infamous packed geometry. You can unpack it, and then you get all your points. Now, that's not going to work with the crowd system. What I'm trying to say is that everything that gets inputted into the crowd solver here, it's all points. It's all point data. You can see this is just one point. So these are point data. That makes everything, all the crowd nodes here, compatible with the pop nodes. So we can use these pop nodes to manipulate our crowd agents in our crowd simulation. And there's a pop node here that we can use that is called the pop steer obstacle. So what it does, it will say like it'll detect that wall. We have to input the wall here, and it'll go like, okay, once I see the wall, I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna try and turn around. So we want to put it in here to affect the walking. So that goes there. Change this back. Come here. I'm gonna find the wall here. So this wall, you can ignore this. Here, I'm just gonna get this geometry. Obstacle here. So for this node, I'm going to input that wall in here now. So I'm going to put the wall in. And let's just run it, see what happens. Okay, I'm just going to put this thing so we can actually see the wall. As you can see, it's not really... Yep. Oh, there it goes. I hope you saw that. Let me zoom in. Now here, see, they're starting to turn around. Now that goes to the question: why didn't these two work out? But that's because we didn't have enough force here. So in this node, we need to turn up the force. Pop force, crowd steer force. So you can choose output here, crowd steer force. Let's turn this up. Let's turn up everything. Okay. So here, this is field of view. Now this is how much they see, they see ahead of it in the horizon, and this is in the vertical. So this is up down, how much they see up down, and how much do they see in front of them. And I'm gonna put 360 because I want them to see everything. This is a matter of degrees. How far I want them to see everything around them. I'm just gonna ignore this for 1 second. We're just gonna keep building it on slowly. So that's a little better. So now this guy is moving away. It is improving a little bit, but we still have some anomalies, like this guy, because he starts too close to the edge. He was born on the edge. So he starts way too close on the edge from this crowdsourced. Like, he's populated too close to the edge. So what we can do, we can actually cheat and come over here to the hamster wheel, because this is not, like, this here is not going to be what we render. That's not going to be rendered at all. It's just used to feed into this crowdsource. So what we can do is manipulate this starting to rain so that it'll fit our need. So I'm going to put the render flag here, select this, come over here and press enter. I'm going to press E to change this widget into the scale, and I'm going to scale this thinner just so that all of the agents will be born in the middle, so they won't be too close to the edge. So let's take a look here. So none of them are close to the edge, which is awesome. So let's give it a try. I should turn off that. Let me turn off the wall. I can't see. One more thing. Let me change the color as well. Okay. I think that's easier. So we are still getting some anomalies here. They are getting, like, oh, right. That's my fault, because I had fed this into this crowd solver terrain hamster wheel. That's not what I wanted to do. That's not, because when I shrinked this one, when I shrink the hamster wheel here, it also shrunk the actual terrain that the agents were projected on. What you want to do is feed in the actual ground, the actual ground here, into the crowd solver terrain projection here. That way they have more ground to be projected on, but also this hamster wheel is only applicable to the input of the crowd source. The crowd source, we're only using this here to populate where you want the agents to populate. Like here. We only want, the reason why I shrunk the hamster wheel here is because I want it to populate near the center of the terrain and stay away from the edges, so it would give it a chance to actually turn around. Let's come here. Oh, right, because we can't see it. Okay, let's try. Okay, it does go, so you can see here, it does go off the hamster wheel, but that's okay, because that's not even the real terrain that we're using. This is the terrain we're using. So they're now moving away and not teleporting. Okay, that jump was because I didn't have enough frames. Let me increase this. Yeah. You can see here they're turning around, so that it's given a chance to detect the edge, so they won't teleport and fall off the edge of the universe. Okay, awesome. Now the next thing, let me check my list. The block of the edges, crowd server tab, normals upside down. Yes. Oh, yeah, they're all going. So you see that they're going to follow the normals, and if you let this run long enough, they should go upside down. Some of them should go all the way upside down. Let's see. Avoidance, crowd server, avoidance, tag, tweak the parameters. Oh, okay. Now in this clip, I wish that didn't happen. In this clip, we can see that they are avoiding each other here. So this guy actually turns around. Come on. Here. They're actually turning around to avoid the traffic. So that type of avoidance is from this crowd solver here. If we go to avoidance tab here, you can turn this up. This will avoid each other or any group that you want to specify here. But since we only have one group, there's like, if you can select a group and then select a group of agents and give it a group name, and you can put it in here. So this will affect everyone since I don't have since this is blank. So I'm going to turn this up so that there's more avoidance. Neighboring distance. I'm going to make this less. So I want them to turn around when they get close. Let's give it a 1. Let's see. You know what? Sorry. I was going to show you a before and after, but I guess I already... Okay, let's do this. Let's revert this. Control M. Let's turn this back into defaults. And then just run it. Okay, let's find a good example. Wonder if... Okay, these guys are all bunched up together, and this is... Okay, this is bunched up together as well. So they're all going bunched up together. They're going in a circle because they're trying to avoid the wall. So let's do this. Let's turn this up now. Here in the crowd solver, avoidance, and I'm going to turn this up like crazy. Neighboring distance, I'm going to turn this down. Let's go with 2. Okay, let's try this again. Let's see. Oh, it's starting to teleport. I hope you saw that. But they are avoiding each other. So these guys are meeting each other and they're going the opposite way. Okay. Yeah, see, this guy, he sees him, and then he kind of, okay, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to avoid you. But there's also this other issue that's arising. See this teleport? This one here? He zaps over there. That's because by avoiding the other guys, these guys, he's trying to avoid the traffic. It has pushed him over the edge. So we're going to have to like lower this a bit. I don't know, to 50. Sorry. Okay, let's try again. Nope, too much. Particle scale, let's give it 5. Let's try that. So you have to keep playing around with these numbers until you get something that works for your scene. Okay, see? That's just enough for him to avoid the crowd and avoid the walls and stay on the universe. There is also something called pop steer avoid. So this node is very similar to the void tab in the crowd solver. This node right here. You just choose crowd steer force, and it has I think these are the exact same parameters in here. Let me pop this up here and here. Weight, particle, force scale, anticipation time, neighboring group. So this one has an extra neighboring group. Neighboring distance, max number. Yeah, they're almost the parameters are almost identical. So this and this tab, avoidance tab in the crowd solver, have very similar functionalities. And what you do is you just take this and you just plug it in here if you want to use this node instead of the tab, instead of this tab here. Okay, let's take a look. Avoidance is based on calculus and foresight, right? It's not. Oh, right. So avoidance is not perfect. As you can see, we had to like fiddle around with these parameters in order to get it to work well. And as you can see here, it's still, if we play it, they're not avoiding perfectly. Sometimes they're still gonna overlap. See, that guy just kind of cut off his butt right there. So it's really, they're still overlapping slightly. So it's not like it's not like RBD solver. It's not like there's no collision detection. It's based on velocity, position, and foresight, like particles. They're actually just particles. It's a particle system, and their velocity, magnitude, vector calculation is all what drives them and steers them to walk in the certain direction. Yeah, I'm not gonna cover the foot planting. If you look carefully on here, this character is not really like when his foot lands, it goes through. Like it's not planted exactly on the terrain. For this scene, it doesn't, like, it's not too big of a deal. But if you have like a blockbuster film where you have you're doing a character close up and he's actually walking on a rough terrain, you want his foot to actually align with the ground. And you can actually do that with chops, and you have to define the motion, and you have to define which one is the foot and which one is the ankle, and how you want them to walk, and all that stuff. There's actually a foot planting system inside the crowd simulation. But that's for a topic for another day. It's a huge, it is quite a big topic. I don't think I'll have time for this. This is the one where, let me look at the chat first. Can we just make the edge like a collider so they cannot pass it and collide? Unfortunately, no. There is no collision system in crowds. Crowds works very differently. There is collision system. The colliding will get triggered when you have ragdolls. So you have to set up your ragdolls. Let me quickly show you actually. If I do like here. Oh, you know what? Let's just use all of them. Let's use all of these guys. And I'm going to do a ragdoll. I'm going to throw down this ragdoll test. Just so happens that this ragdoll test has a simulation inside. Like it has a crowd simulation inside of it, which is very handy for you to test your scene. Oh dear. Okay. So what this will do is just drop them down. Now I want to show you. This is our collision geometry. This will actually collide. So ragdolls is the only way that I know of getting collision to work with the crowd system. I'm actually trying to figure out how to do agent to agent collision, which is, I think, would be super handy. If you look carefully to this ragdoll setup, just gonna organize this a little bit. So this ragdoll setup has a crowd solver. Well, we know that. And it has our crowd object. It has the agent, the constraint network, the constraints for the ragdoll, for the joints. So you don't want the joints to fly off, or maybe you do. So this is where you set the constraints for that. If you want a bone to break upon impact, this is where you have fun with that. And it also has a bullet solver, is what I wanted to show you. And that's how they detect this collision. Now, how you would detect, the problem is this is only triggered in the ragdoll state. So you have to have, by then it's too late. If you're in the ragdoll state, it's like a puppet that falls on the ground. The ragdoll state is not animated. So I'm not sure how you would get collision to work with any other state other than the ragdoll. Oh, thank you very much. Cool. This is let's see if I covered everything. Oh right, this was the thing that I was gonna cover it if I had time, but I think we're getting pretty close. Let me just pull this up. Oh, this one is, where are you? It is this one where they're crawling on here. So I had a lot of trouble with this particular scene. I wish I had a better version. Oh, here it is. There it is. Oh, this is the other one. Oh, there it is. Okay. This scene, I had a lot of trouble with this because these guys would even though I tell the crowd source to populate the agents on the outside, on the exterior surface of this text geometry, it was always, some of them would always end up in the interior, which was super annoying. I ended up just blasting it. Just blasting manually picking the agents that were populating in the interior. I manually just picked them and then just blasted them out, like removed them completely. But I wanted to point it out because I had discovered a few more nodes on how to actually populate them correctly. Like, I actually found a way to populate it correctly. Unfortunately, after you feed it into the crowd solver, it overwrites it. And I don't know why it does that. There is an agent. Terrain adaptation. This node would correctly populate the agents and readjust their orientation so that they actually populate on the exterior of here instead of ending up in the interior, like inside. It was actually crawling inside the E, like going inside, up and down the E, which is something I wanted to avoid. I mean, it would have been a cool scene too, but that was something I wanted to avoid at that time. this node would actually fix that issue. But in the end of the day, I also had to feed this node into the .NET, and when it was fed into the .NET, the crowd solver would overwrite it and flip it back in. Like, it would stick it back inside the E, which was really annoying. Cool. You're welcome. Cool. So does anyone have any more questions? I'm gonna start to end it off. There's a bit of lag on the stream, so I'm gonna just give it a while. If you have any questions, you can always if you think of any questions afterwards, you can always post a comment below, and then I'll read it. I'll get to it when I read it. I'm pretty fast with the comments. So the next, while I'm here, I'm just gonna talk a little about the next one. So the next one will be covering this one, the locomotion data. This one, how to fix this. It's actually really easy. I'm not even sure if it'll take up a whole hour. I'm sure I'll find something to talk about. And then finally, the SDF destruction. You can call me bubblepins. It's a great stream. Awesome. I'm glad you liked it. Alright, so if people don't have any more questions, I'm just gonna end it off. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope you make it into the next one, which is planned for this day, if all goes planned. It may not. This is very iffy, because I'm not sure if I'll have time for that. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to cover. Oh, and there may be one more thing. Right, I may have a special on the Substance Designer, just because it's very, very interesting to get into. It's very procedural, which is very Houdini-like. I may have a special just to get into, like a really beginner one, nothing too complex, just something really simple, like maybe this material, how to do. And see how the feedback goes, because Houdini has been like the main topic of all my content. Going into Substance Designer is a huge step for me, and I'm not sure if people will like it, but I'm willing to give it a try. And then I think this would bring a whole new set of options to the Houdini texturing workflow. This is gonna be awesome. Oh, grains. I was planning to do one on, like, have all the bugs crawl out of the grains, but because I don't have enough memory, it didn't end up looking that great. But I could just go over it just quickly, like do a special on it. The Vellum grains take up a little more memory than, well, I'm always lacking in memory anyways. It's on the list, put it that way. It's on the list. I'm getting to it. It's just, yeah. But since you mentioned it now, I will bump it up. So maybe it can be held like on the same week as when I talk about the ocean and flip, because I intend to talk about the flip tank colliding with the bug army anyways. So it's a very similar setup. Cool. I'm glad you'll like it. All right, so I'm gonna wish everyone an awesome day. I'm just gonna end it off here, and yeah, I hope everyone continues to do to practice Houdini and have a great. Well, it's afternoon here. I don't know what everyone's on. Try out some of these things and try think of different ways of using them. Of using the crowd system. I think that would be like the most interesting part. I had this clicked an idea this morning where I can have a cardboard box and have all the bugs sort of crawl out of the cardboard box, sorry, I keep trying to end the stream, but I keep thinking of something else. You can put in a pop source here, and then you can feed it in. And what this will do, it will continually. Now I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to populate this here, and I'm going to choose all geometry. What it will do, it will constantly give birth to these guys. Hope you can see that. Hope it doesn't crash. There's like a million, they're getting born from that same position. Now let me do this. F mod 5. Oh, that's still a lot. If mod equals 0, 1, 0. How's that? Oops. $F. Okay. No, that's quite a lot still. Let's do 10. Let's do 20. So every 20 frames, it's going to give birth to one of them. Now, this would be amazing if it's playing from like a cardboard box. If this emission is from a cardboard box and just going to keep crawling out. I thought that would be cool. Wow. Dedication. Oh my god, thank you so much. 2 a.m. Oh my god. Thank you. I really appreciate that. All right. I'm going to end it off right here and let you get some sleep. And I'm going to get some lunch. Late lunch. Thank you all for joining me, and if you have any questions, put it in the comments below and I'll get to it. And yeah, everyone have an awesome rest of your night or rest of your day, and happy Houdini.